Coming up, a state-funded program steps in with financial aid from Missouri businesses and farmers.
Little light rain trying to move in from the west, but a four-state force field keeping it away. We'll have the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And residents in the South Joplin area find themselves under a water boil advisory.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first, let's go to Michael Islip.
Every now and then we kind of make a joke of it about how things will develop over central Kansas, head our way, and then all of a sudden, bam, when it gets to our western counties, just dissolves. And a lot of that is it's losing its strength, but if you put it on a loop, it does look like there's a force field in effect. Here's the last 6 hours. Watch everything on the left-hand side of your screen develop. And then right almost as it gets to Greenwood County, it's just kind of, I'm done with it for the most part. And here's the positive thing about the morning commute. Everything even through the central portion of Kansas right along the Oklahoma state line, it's breaking up as well. So we might get out of this unscathed. A little bit more mild temperatures with the color contour up to the north, 69 right now in Iola, 70 in Nevada. Compare that to 73 in Joplin. And then 74s in Anderson and in Miami. Look at the Skywatch Storm Tracker up to our northwest. Everything up there will continue to track out to the east, so that won't pose any problems. Now, we are going to get some that will develop pretty much right over us here a little bit later on, but not going to have to worry about anything severe, and we do not have any watches or warnings in effect, and that also includes heat advisories. We don't have any to speak of right now. That, of course, is going to change by the time we get to Friday and Saturday. But for today, almost a repeat of yesterday. We'll go to 90s with the cloud covered, kind of just coming and going. And there we go, little pops of green every now and then. Pretty unimpressive, nothing organized. And by the time we get into Friday morning, we're done with it. Then let's talk about what we've got coming on Friday into Saturday. Because once again, our temperatures do not disappoint. We backed it off just a little bit, but not really enough to take away the threat of heat being a danger. 94 on Friday, 98 still on Saturday. Remember, Saturday night's rain bringing that big cold front drops us down to the 80s all through the middle of next week.
Yeah, well, looking forward to the cool down if we can make it through the weekend.
It'll be a nice little reprieve there Saturday to Sunday.
It's going to be hot though this weekend. We can do it. All right, thanks, Michael. A precautionary boil water advisory is issued for residents around South Joplin. It was issued after a water main break caused water pressure to drop in the affected area. The advisory affects about 150 customers. If you happen to be one of the affected customers, Missouri American Water asks that you bring water to a rolling boil for 3 minutes before using it for drinking or cooking. They go on to say using tap water for washing and bathing is okay. The House Select Committee investigating last year's January 6th insurrection at the U.S. Capitol is set to hold its 5th public hearing today. The panel is expected to focus on former President Trump's pressure campaign to enlist the Justice Department in his efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Trinity Chavez has more.
Day 5 of the House Select Committee hearings is set to reveal how President Trump tried to pressure the Justice Department to support his false claims of election fraud. In its series of public hearings investigating the January 6th Capitol attack, the committee is aiming to lay out a trail of evidence showing that even many who were in Mr. Trump's inner circle warned him that his efforts were unfounded.
The president's own attorney general, Bill Barr, said he told the president about these claims of massive fraud affecting the outcome of the election.
I told him that the stuff that his people were shoveling out to the public were that the claims of fraud were.
Among those expected to testify today is former Acting Attorney General Jeffrey A. Rosen. The session is expected to examine a January 3rd, 2021 meeting inside the Oval Office, where the president reportedly discussed replacing Rosen with Jeffrey Clark. Clark was a lower-ranking administration official who supported Mr. Trump's claims of widespread election fraud. Trinity Chavez, CBS News, New York.
CBS News has learned the U.S. Capitol Police security detail is expected to be expanded for all committee members following a rise in threats. And that's according to a congressional source familiar with the matter. It's unclear exactly when the security detail would begin, but likely before members head home for the 4th of July recess. A new program is helping Missouri businesses and farmers receive loans with lower interest rates. On Wednesday, Missouri Treasurer Scott Fitzpatrick met with American Ramp Company in Joplin to discuss the benefits of the program called MoBucks. MoBucks is a linked deposit program using state funds and allows businesses to be able to afford necessary equipment and materials at a discounted interest rate. With this program, the American Ramp Company has been able to update some of its equipment, purchase a new laser, and is working on building a new break room.
Really, at the end of the day, it's not a handout to the business. The business is trying to buy a piece of equipment, or they're trying to add on to their building, or they need a cash flow loan to finance the growth they're having. Whatever it is, they're responsible for paying that loan back.
Missouri business owners or farmers can talk to their bank to learn more about the MoBucks plan. Wyandotte Nation teams up with coaches and players from Missouri State's lacrosse team and Springfield team in Springfield, Missouri High School for a lacrosse camp. The purpose of this camp is to introduce the fundamentals of lacrosse as well as bring this cultural game to the four-state area. The camp started Tuesday and will continue through today at 12:30 p.m.
It's one of those sports that once you get involved and you start playing, it's so rewarding. It's so much fun. And watching kids that think they can't master it, and then they master it, and then they excel at it, and then they go on to do even bigger things with it. And it's just super rewarding and a ton of fun.
Well, coming up in sports, our own Carrie Worthen takes a closer look at the Wyandotte Nation's lacrosse camp.
You know, lacrosse players are a tad bit crazy, right?
So I've heard. That lacrosse and rugby, something about that.
Okay, I'll buy that. Lack of equipment, the speed of that ball, and the crazy things they can do with the ball.
Yeah.
My cousins were lacrosse players. I love you, Kent and Kurt. They were a little bit crazy. Great athletes, but you got to be a little bit crazy to do that. Mm-hmm. I had never used I think it's called a ball. Forgive me, lacrosse people, if it's got another name, but I had never been around that rubber core like that before. And the first time I got hit by one, I was like, why are you not wearing like hockey goalie pads out here while you're playing? This is ridiculous. They're like, no, we just run around with a mask on. It's cool. I'm like, all right, you guys are crazy.
Makes them tough.
But crazy talented, too, to be able to do that. Skywatch Storm Tracker, we'll see some little pop-ups that'll come over us every now and then today. Nothing severe, very isolated, too. You know, one of those, when it arrives in your neighborhood, rain for 10, 15 minutes, chances are the people right down the highway, they probably won't get any of it while it's raining at your house. Up to about 90 degrees today, hit 91 yesterday at Joplin Regional Airport. So our temperature is going to be similar in nature. Friday and Saturday, heat advisories returning Saturday night. Bring that cold front in here. Go all the way into next week in the 80s.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, do the Sooners have what it takes to knock off Texas A&M for a spot in the finals of the College World Series? That's coming up next in sports. Plus, a Florida high school moves to change the name of its mascot, but not everyone agrees. And more than 8 million people in the United States suffer from psoriasis. Our own Dalquick tells us why the disease is more than just skin deep. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Pittsburgh State's Austin Bonnell and Caleb Carr finished their playing careers this past season, but neither stepping away from baseball. Bonnell and Carr beginning their coaching careers. This summer, they're assistants on the Joplin Outlaws coaching staff. After that, Bonnell will be a volunteer assistant at Butler Community College, and Carr headed back to Pitt State to work with outfielders and hitters. As coaches, they now have the opportunity to pass down their knowledge and make an impact on someone else's career.
I've learned a lot throughout playing that I want to instill with these younger guys. I wish what I knew now, I wish I knew it 4 or 5 years ago when I was playing. Sharing my knowledge with these kids, it's awesome. I just want them to play hard. That's the only way to play this game. So if they play hard and we make mistakes going hard 100%, I'm completely fine with that. I want to see these guys get better. It's not about me, it's about these guys.
Truer words never been spoken right there. I wish I knew now what I did 4 or 5 years ago. Joplin has won 3 of their last 4 games, aiming for back-to-back win against Des Moines. Outlaws homered twice early, scored 4 more runs in the 8th. That would be enough to pick up the road win, 9-6 the final. Oklahoma meeting Texas A&M for the second time at the College World Series. Sooners won the first meeting 13-8, and with a win, OU advancing to the finals. First inning, 2 on for Jimmy Crooks. Tell you what, they said the ball doesn't leave Charles Schwab Field. They were wrong this year. David Sandlin locked in 3 straight strikeouts in the 4th inning. He goes 7 innings, allows 1 run, strikes out 12 on the day. In the 5th inning, Tanner Treadaway, he's having himself a series. Rips it through the left side. That scores another run for the Sooners. Oklahoma eliminates Texas A&M. Sooners are on to the College World Series Finals, winning this one 5-1. Wyandotte Nation teamed up with coaches and players from Missouri State's lacrosse team. Tanya told us a little bit about that earlier. A high school lacrosse camp. Now, the purpose of this camp is to introduce the fundamentals of lacrosse, as well as bring a cultural game to the 4 states. Photojournalist Carrie Worthen gives us an inside look.
So the history of lacrosse is incredible. You know, it's a Native American sport. That's where it originated. It actually got its name not from the Native Americans, but by some of the first settlers that came over and seen them playing, and they thought it was a cross that they were holding in their hands, and you know, so that's kind of how it took its name.
With the cradling. Did you try something uncomfortable and use your weekend?
To me, it was always just something, an outlet for me. Right, I got to meet a bunch of friends, a lot of people who shared a common interest, and it was just a way for me to really express myself as an athlete.
And you guys have got it down in less than 2 days. Super proud of you.
We hope that it will encourage lacrosse in this community and throughout Oklahoma.
Perfect. Good. Oh, nice snag, TJ. Nice throw, baby. TJ, getting low. One more back to him, Joe. You guys go grab one.
The whole point of us doing this is we want to grow the game. We want to see lacrosse take off here like it has in most other places of the country. You know, the Midwest is always the kind of the last to get it.
We're going to have a lacrosse league that we can have the other tribes join us if they want to work with us, but also community members can play lacrosse.
Wyandotte Nation will also receive a $1 million grant to help renovate and expand their powwow grounds, including a paved parking lot, an additional row for vendors, added restrooms, and even more amenities. Major League Baseball Cards in the middle of a series with the Brewers. Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado. This just in, Paul Goldschmidt homered again. My goodness. If he's not your all-star starting first baseman for the National League, I give up. St. Louis wins at 5-4, and the Royals, winners of 5 of their last 6, going for the sweep. It was a late start. The Angels ended up winning this thing 5-0. Shohei Ohtani, 13 strikeouts, a career high 13 strikeouts over 8 innings. At one point in time, he struck out 6 in a row. He reached base 3 times in the victory. And all this comes as the Angels give Mike Trout the day off. How about that? Still to come on the KOAM Morning News, Emily Frankowski of Connect to Culture with details on the haps about what's going on in the Joplin area, and a check on our 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Special guest, and thank goodness we're able to get her back in the studio, Emily Frankowski of Connect to Culture. We affectionately refer to her as E. Frank. Emily, I want to thank you so much for your time. And as I always like to point out, if it weren't for organizations like Connect to Culture, I'm not going to say we'd be lacking, but we wouldn't have the opportunity to take advantage of the wonderful events that you bring us. And one of those events, I think it's really neat. No matter what your religion or preference is, there's something communal about fellowship and gathering. And even if you've got a voice that sounds like mine, you know, being able to join people in song. And the 2022 Hymn Festival, it's right around the corner.
Yes.
It's coming up on July the 2nd. A little bit about this as far as who's invited and how we all gather together.
So this is an event that's put on by the Joplin Area Organists Association, and they do it every now and then. I think this is the first one post, you know, the very relevant COVID times. But they come together to celebrate the organ and the history of the organ and kind of educate people about the organ. And in this hymn festival, people will gather together and sing hymns together. So they'll be doing this 2:45 p.m. on July 2nd, and I would imagine it will go on for a couple of hours. I've actually never gone to one of their hymn festivals before, but I do love a good hymn. So.
Well, and now I'm curious too, because and I'm a sucker for the organ. It's funny you say that. You love a good hymn. I'm a sucker for an organ.
The organ.
Now I'm really interested. I might have to check this out now because I'm really interested to see if they have different types of organs. And obviously some of these not easy to move, but some of them we know that are quite portable when they take them out and do revivals and whatnot. And so once again, that's coming up Saturday the 2nd at 2:45. And First Community Church?
Yes.
And like so many events that Connected Culture is able to put on because of them, open, free to the public, everybody just come on out and, excuse me, come on out and enjoy. That's why I got to get this cleared up.
Yes.
Because if you're going to hear me bust out Battle Hymn of the Republic,
you've got to be.
I'm going to bust it out. Okay?
Yes.
I'm going to come strong. I promise you that. Emily, having children myself, oftentimes during the summer months, I'm not going to say we struggle for things to do, but we look for interesting things to keep them engaged and make sure that they're not slacking. They're Hayslip kids. I said it. But to keep them engaged. And Joplin Little Theater has 2 upcoming classes, if you will, and they're real easy to remember, folks, because the first one starts with ants. The second one starts with monsters. What exactly are we looking for in these classes? What can we expect as parents, I guess? I want to start with ants working together.
Yeah.
Because that one's going to run from July the 11th to the 15th.
So this is under our camp section of our calendar, which every year we put together kind of a comprehensive list of all of the arts and culture camps. So if you're looking for kids' activities to do, that's the place to find them. But this is the Joplin Little Theater workshops, which is something that I did as a kid growing up.
I'll be darned.
Throughout my time that they allowed me to be there, I was there during the summer, and this is where I started my love for the theater. But this basically, it's July 11th through 15th. You go either the morning session or the afternoon session, and kids get to learn all about theater, the front of house, the back of house, costumes, makeup, all the technical aspects, and then they work on a play together, and at the end, they perform it for their parents or loved ones that come to watch them. And I have such fond memories of going there in the summertime, and so I think this is a wonderful activity for kids, get them out of the house, and to learn all those skills that you learn when you do study theater.
And so the first camp is called Ants Working Together.
Yes.
The second one is Monsters Under the Bed. And once again, both of these are ages 5 through 14. One thing I do want to point out, don't delay. Make sure that you call Joplin Little Theater. You're going to find this interesting. Your kids are going to love it. But make sure you call them because space is limited. They can't they can't take 200. They would love to take 200 kids, trust me. But being what it is, that's not possible. And so once again, July 11 to 15 and then July 18 to 22. You can find that under the camp section. But I'd like for you to give a little testimonial here, because I didn't know that you attended these as a child. When you came out of these camps, and you said you kept on going back, like what was your fascination with it? What really made you excited about it?
I think that for me, I went to Thomas Jefferson in Joplin. We didn't necessarily have a theater department. We did musicals every year. We did have plays, but we didn't have that concentration on theater. So being able to go to Joplin Little Theater, spent all your whole day on theater, have friends from other schools that are interested in things that you're interested in, and also the teachers. The teachers were professionals in the field, and just Joplin Little Theater is so cool. It's one of the oldest continuously running theaters west of Mississippi.
Yeah.
And there's a special place in my heart for Joplin Little Theater, and then from there I got to do some other shows, not just the workshops, more professional shows, build your repertoire, and then eventually go off to college. So.
And also too, I think it's every young boy and girl's dream to be there front and center stage, to command that stage. But that's not for everybody, and it takes a village. For those of you that have been in theater, it's not. And Emily, you'll attest to this. From the techies, that's how I fell in love with tech theater. Was going to camps like this, and I'm like, oh wait, lights like that they're really important.
I'm putting the headset on, and I'm gonna go backstage.
Right, this is really cool. I love to do this. So there's a tech aspect that your child may fall in love with as well. And once again, you can find that all on Connect 2 the number 2, connect2culture.org under the camp section. We've got a equivalency of a Comic-Con coming up, and yes. I really want to know what you're going to dress as. Can you stick around and help us out with that? Okay. Emily's going to come back and join us. Emily Frankowski of Connect to Culture, and we'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, according to the National Psoriasis Foundation, more than 8 million people in the United States have psoriasis. And now research is showing this skin disease affects other organs, including the heart.
When you think of psoriasis, you probably think of red, itchy, scaly skin patches. But scientists are finding out this common disease affects more than the skin.
That inflammation that's present in the skin that's causing the skin to swell and to thicken, it is much more than skin deep. It's causing a full body inflammatory process.
And recent studies have shown that inflammation impacts your body's cardiovascular system.
That patient with psoriasis has a much higher risk of having heart disease, dying of heart disease, than a patient that doesn't.
A recent review of 90 studies found patients with psoriasis had a higher risk of ischemic heart disease, stroke, and peripheral arterial disease. They also had more heart disease risk factors like obesity, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and diabetes. And another study found psoriasis was linked to an increased risk of developing a heart arrhythmia. But there are things you can do to lower your risk of heart problems and improve your psoriasis symptoms.
Stopping smoking, decreasing your alcohol consumption, eating more fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, less processed foods.
Taking your prescribed medicines may also help. A study published in Cardiovascular Research found that biologic drugs used to treat psoriasis may also reduce the risk of heart disease. Dow Quick, KOAM News.
Psoriasis is often mistaken for other skin diseases like eczema, ringworm, hives, or even skin cancer. A dermatologist can help you determine if your skin rashes are psoriasis. And that's a look at one of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Pretty mild start, temperatures mid-70s, a little bit cooler up to the north. Still holding on to the 69 up there in Iowa, but unlike yesterday, where the lower temperatures were a result of some morning thunderstorm activity, we just only thing we've had early this morning / overnight was just some light rain out on the western edge of southeast Kansas. Now we're going to get some isolated pop-up rain every now and then throughout Thursday, but they'll be real quick and certainly not organized nor severe. We called that system yesterday. We referred to it as a weak system. This doesn't even hit the weak category for the most part. So as those things come and go, then we get ready for the heat wave for the weekend. Mid 90s on Friday, high 90s on Saturday.
Coming up, a state-funded program steps in with financial aid for Missouri businesses and farmers.
A 4-state sunrise that is hard to beat. Now we are going to have a little pop-up rain before the heat wave hits. The latest from the Skywatch website.
And residents in the South Joplin area find themselves under a water boil advisory.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:33. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first, let's go to Michael Hayslip.
A crazy sight right there, isn't it?
It's beautiful.
Well, it looks like one of those pictures that you take on your phone with about 18 filters on it to change the color. We've got wonderful technology here. We're not that sophisticated. That's actually what it looks like from our tower cam at 7th and Rangeline in Joplin. Absolutely gorgeous. Sunrise will officially be here at 5:59 over Joplin. Average high of 88 will be just a skosh above that, coming off of a 91 yesterday at Joplin Regional Airport, and no wind to speak of this morning, so that's nice. There we are outside of Television City, facing off to the east, and a Skywatch storm tracker with just some light cloud cover providing us with the gorgeous colors. All the rain is really breaking up before it even gets to the western edge of southeast Kansas, and our temperatures ranging from 69, still our low point in Iola, all the way up to 76 as a matter of fact. Right down the road from Iola, we got 69. Right down the road, we got 76 in Chanute. Let's go 75 in Miami, 74 in Carthage. Nationally speaking, all that rain that you see there up in north central Nebraska, or Kansas, it'll continue to make its way up through Nebraska and then move off to the east. And not a whole lot behind it. Now, that's not to say that we won't have an isolated pop-up every now and then as we work our way into the low 90s. But for the most part, it's really going to be hit or miss, very, very isolated. and probably only lasted about 10 to 15 minutes when it does decide to rain. After that pushes through, we get ready for the heat wave on Friday and Saturday. Let's go mid-90s on Friday, but feeling, that's going to be easily triple digits. Saturday is going to feel about like 105 to 107.
And then Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday?
Then the cold front.
There, we'll take it. I like it where you just put warm on there.
Sunday afternoon will be good after the rain clears off too. Won't get too hot.
Sounds great. All right, thanks, Michael. Well, a precautionary boil water advisory is issued for residents around South Joplin. It was issued after a water main break caused water pressure to drop in the affected area. The advisory affects about 150 customers. If you happen to be one of the affected customers, Missouri American Water asks that you bring water to a rolling boil for 3 minutes before using it for drinking or cooking. They go on to say using tap water for washing and bathing is okay. A newly renamed program is helping Missouri businesses and farmers receive loans with lower interest rates. On Wednesday, Missouri Treasurer Scott Fitzpatrick met with American Ramp Company in Joplin to discuss the benefits of the program called MoBucks. MoBucks is a linked deposit program using state funds and allows businesses to be able to afford necessary equipment and materials at a discounted interest rate. With this program, the American Ramp Company has been able to update some of its equipment, purchase a new laser, and is working on building a new break room.
We can hire more people, from the Joplin community and grow our business, and ultimately that's good for Joplin. That's good for the state of Missouri, and and that's good for everybody. If businesses can be successful and have access to favorable interest rate loans, that the state's helping to underwrite with the bank, I think that's a pretty cool deal.
Missouri business owners and farmers can talk to their bank to learn more about the MoBucks plan. Joplin United Micro-Housing Partnership has completed its goal of adding more low-income housing for residents of Joplin. 500 square feet tiny duplexes are for low-income individuals trying to become independent. Joplin United Micro-Housing Partnership built this program after noticing the rise in homelessness in the community. Catholic Charities is also helping families with rental and utilities assistance.
Well, at Catholic Charities, we have a total of 12 affordable housing units here in Joplin. These two, within a week of actually posting, were rented. That shows that the need for affordable housing is there, and that's why this partnership wants to grow this program and create more of these throughout the community.
Duplexes are already giving shelter to those in need. Coming up in our 6 o'clock show, KOAM's own Amber Jenkins has more on this story. Here's Michael with a look at your forecast.
Temperatures around 91 degrees, very similar to what we had yesterday, so it's not going to be overwhelmingly hot. We escape any heat advisories early on this Thursday morning. As far as what we're looking at precipitation-wise, you can always keep a slight chance in there, especially this time of year, but it's not well-defined nor developing, and then on us, kind of pops up right over us and then goes about its way. Won't have any thunder or lightning even involved with it, never mind not having to worry about high wind or hail. And then here we go for, remember, Friday, there we go, mid-90s on Friday, high 90s on Saturday.
Well, a heated debate in Hillsborough County, Florida over a push to change a high school's mascot that some say is insensitive to indigenous people. Jordan Bowen has more.
And it passes 5-1.
Tuesday night, all but one Hillsborough County School Board member voted to approve the process to change the Chamberlain High School mascot from the Chiefs to something new.
I'm extremely upset that Chamberlain High School is about to lose their chief.
These mascots are teaching stereotypical, misleading, and often insulting images of indigenous peoples.
The Title VI Native American Parent Advisory Council requested the change. As a result, the Chamberlain High's Student Government Association, or SGA, were tasked with investigating the problem. The SGA consulted with Native American groups, spoke with past alumni, and surveyed students. Of the 418 students polled, 58% said they believe the mascot and past traditions were offensive.
Tell us in any way how the term chief is pejorative in a single manner. It is nothing but a symbol of pride. It's a symbol of integrity of character. It's used for the chief of police, the chief executive.
Chief is a title. The man is correct. But when you label it to an Indian head, that's disrespect.
Mayor Jane Castor, a graduate of Chamberlain High School, shared her thoughts on the change at an affordable housing event Tuesday afternoon prior to the board meeting.
My personal opinion on that is that it should stay the Chamberlain Chiefs. Chief is indicative of a prestigious position. I appreciate the democratic process that they're allowing students and alumni in the community to weigh in on that. But my personal vote would be to remain a Chamberlain Chief.
Our question for you this morning on the KOAM News Now Insta poll: for or against changing team names? And early voting suggests everybody's against it.
We must be in Chiefs territory here.
You can always let your voice be heard. KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. You can also connect to us via our Facebook page at KOAM News Now.
All right, that's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, a massive earthquake rocks Afghanistan.
A major earthquake in Afghanistan has left more than 1,000 dead. I'm Michael George of the United Nations with the rescue efforts underway now.
And we take you to a community where black bear sightings are on the rise. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping World Watch, a powerful earthquake strikes a remote region of Afghanistan, killing at least 1,000 people. A toll that is expected to grow as more information trickles in from the local villages. United Nations officials say they're asking other counties in the region to help with the search and rescue effort. Michael George has the details.
Rescuers used their bare hands to dig through the rubble, searching for victims of the powerful earthquake that struck Afghanistan overnight. Homes made of stone and mud bricks crumbled into dusty piles of debris. At least 2,000 were destroyed, according to the United Nations, which says as many as 7 or 8 people live in every home.
We don't know if there are still people in those homes, so we're desperately trying to work with local partners to get through that rubble and see if there are any survivors.
The epicenter was in a mountainous region southeast of the capital, Kabul, near the Pakistani border. It was the deadliest quake in 2 decades, hitting as Afghanistan is already deep in crisis, with millions facing hunger and poverty.
It will only add to the immense humanitarian needs in Afghanistan, and it really has to be all hands on deck.
The UN says it shipped about 10 tons of medical supplies and deployed 20 medical teams, but they don't currently have search and rescue capabilities in the region. Relief workers arrived by helicopter, but many international agencies have left Afghanistan since the Taliban takeover, leading the UN to request help from other nearby countries. The Afghan Red Crescent set out food and medical aid, but time is of the essence. Since many residents were sleeping when the quake hit, an untold number could be under the rubble, in desperate need of help. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
The White House says President Biden has directed federal government partners to assess response options to help those affected by the quake. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back with the news you need to know before you head out the door. Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Authorities arrest a Springfield, Missouri couple accused of abusing their son in ways that might be considered child torture. Probable cause statement says Joseph and Peggy Flores would put their teenage son naked in a puppy cage with 2 dogs, pour urine on him, and hit him with an extension cord as a form of punishment. Authorities say the parents would refer to their son using racial slurs. Investigators think the abuse began in March of 2020 when the boy was homeschooled during the COVID shutdown of Springfield schools. COVID-19 vaccines are now available to children as young as 6 months old, but not every local hospital has them in stock yet. While the vaccines are not yet available at Freeman, hospital staff say they plan to meet in a few weeks to discuss available options for children to receive the vaccine. Jessica Liberty, manager of infection prevention at Freeman, says it may be time to start having conversations with your pediatrician to determine if your child should be vaccinated. A precautionary boil water advisory is issued for residents around South Joplin. It was issued after a water main break caused water pressure to drop in the affected area. The advisory affects about 150 customers. Joplin United Micro Housing Partnership completes its goal of adding more low-income housing for residents of Joplin. 500 square feet tiny duplexes are for low-income individuals trying to become independent. Joplin United Micro Housing Partnership built this program after noticing the rise in homelessness in the community. Catholic Charities are also helping families with rental and utilities assistance. That's a check of today's top headlines. The news you need to know before you head out the door.
Beautiful blue sky with just a light cloud cover over Television City right there. And almost look, you bust open the Crayola box with the number of colors that we see. Excuse me. Sunrise got me choked up. It's too beautiful, Trevor. Too beautiful. 69 in Iola. I find this pretty interesting. Right down I start with Iola being at 69 because it's been our one spot that hasn't gotten to 70 yet. But look just down the road, Chanute and Neodesha are both already at 76. So it's just a little cool pocket right there. 73 in Joplin. Let's roll 72 in Monette and Cassville, 75 in Miami. Eventually, everybody's going to push up into the high 80s, low 90s. We were up to 91 yesterday at Joplin Regional Airport. Now, on the weather trend, we don't see any raindrops falling from any of our icons. And the reason I didn't put any on there is because it is going to be so isolated today. If it pops up in your neighborhood, lasts probably about 10, 15 minutes, and it'll push in and push out. And what I mean by pop up is we're not going to look at any elongated system that's moving toward us. All that stays up to the north through Kansas City. Kansas City through this morning and early afternoon, they're going to have some thunderstorm activity. But then you see we just get little pockets for the afternoon, and they just kind of come and go. And nothing ever gets organized. The majority of it does continue to stay to the north for tonight into early Friday morning. Roll through that. We won't have to worry about thunder or lightning. And then as it pushes through, we get ready for a pretty hot Friday. We'll be up into the mid-90s and then overnight. Look at that, and only dropping down to the 80s. Great thing about the severe thunderstorm risk map is that's that system developing on the Nebraska-Kansas state line. And as we zoom in here, even up to the north, you're really going to be hard pressed to even see any damaging winds with that. Certainly no hail. And then as we push down to the southern portion, that's just an indicator of that marginal, lower than the marginal activity. Doesn't even register as that. As far as the 7-day forecast goes, after a hot Friday, we've got a hotter Saturday. Going to feel about in between 103 to 107 there on Saturday. But Saturday night, nice system works in. Big cold front going to drop in on us as well. And we'll begin a string of 80s that begins on Sunday. And really able to stay in the 80s with overnight lows in the 60s all the way to the middle of next week. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
A motorist in suburban Milwaukee who spotted a bear was able to capture video of it. Wildlife officials say there are reasons why bear sightings are becoming more common in the area. Stephanie Haynes has the story.
Un oso aquí en Franklin.
Marco Lopez couldn't believe his eyes when he spotted this black bear near 60th and Ryan. He was driving to work early Tuesday morning, and he said people didn't believe him until they saw this video he captured from his car.
You saw it
with
your own eyes and on your phone and shared it.
I know.
David Hughes of Dallard Transit saw the video on social media and realized the bear was right next to his office.
When I seen Pines, I was like, oh, wow, it's right in front of our company. And, I would have never thought a bear would be like around our business park here.
David went back through his security footage, but never saw the bear. Franklin police showed up to investigate. David thinks the bear came from the woods behind his lot, which backs up to the Root River. The Milwaukee County Sports Complex is near the intersection, but the area is mainly forest and businesses. The DNR is asking people who live nearby to remove bird feeders and get rid of any spare seed. Also, to lock your garbage cans up, anything to avoid attracting the bear. The DNR says bears are most common up north, but some have been moving south lately. And that's why there have been an uptake in sightings. And they believe people are seeing more than one bear. If you do see a bear, the DNR says do not go near it and do not run away. Instead, Back away slowly and get to a safe place. From there, you can wave your arms and make noise to try to scare it away. Marco wants people to be safe.
It's scary for the people walking in the trail.
While Missouri may not have the bear population that Wisconsin does, there are black bears in Missouri, and according to the Missouri Department of Conservation, most live south of I-44, but there have been a lot of sightings in the Joplin area and across the state line into Kansas. We'll be right back with another look at your forecast after this.
Had some rain that tried to move in from the west earlier, but really broke up right as it got to southeast Kansas. Starting to see a little bit of what we'll just call pop-ups today. Right there along the Kansas-Oklahoma state line. You can tell a lack of organization there. They're not going to come together or anything like that. That'll be our theme for today. They're liable to, pop up right over you, even in the central portion of the 4 states. Lasts about 10 to 15 minutes, and then you'll be done with it. Here's a beautiful start. Right there, that's a live look outside of Television City. Almost looks like we created a little hole in the clouds just to the east of us there. So a gorgeous, gorgeous Thursday morning. 76 in Chanute, 74 in Neosho, and 73 right now in Lamar. Temperatures very, very mild. We will make it up into the lower 90s later on today. Just almost a carbon copy of yesterday when we got to 91. Be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
Coming up, the Joplin Fire Department holds a ceremony for its new fire truck.
Gorgeous look, gorgeous Thursday. Do you have a little pop-up rain that we're going to pay attention to? The latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And Joplin organization reaches its goal of adding more low-income housing.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories in just a moment, but first, let's go to Michael Hayslip.
One final chance to say hello to the glow cloud. 6 o'clock puts us seconds past official sunrise at Joplin Regional Airport, and what a gorgeous Thursday it is. 72 degrees is where we stand. Unlike yesterday where we were talking about how most of the 4 states was off to a gorgeous start, but the north was fighting that rain. Not the case for today, as everything will stay squarely off to our northwest for the time being. A little pop-up rain every now and then, that's going to be pretty common. It is common for this time of year. Common for today as well. Starting to see a little bit formulate there along the Kansas-Oklahoma state line out to the west. But really, for the most part, light cloud cover providing gorgeous colors in the sky on a Thursday morning. 73 in Neosho and Anderson, 75 in Parsons and Independence. Let's roll 71s in Fort Scott and in Nevada. Down to the south, we're starting to see it warm up quite a little bit there in between Miami and Grove. So we know our heat's going to move in from the south today, but it's not going to be overpowering. As a matter of fact, we do not have any heat advisories, excessive heat warnings, anything of that nature to worry about today. You'll notice the weather trend, it puts us up into the 90s, but even though it looks dry on all those icons, just wasn't worth putting raindrops on there because it's going to be really hit or miss. Pop up in your neighborhood and in and out and hope to shout in 5 minutes. After we get into Friday morning and everything stays up to the north of us, Friday begins the heat wave back into the mid-90s, and we know we're not stopping there as we'll be in the high 90s for Saturday. But remember, Saturday night also bringing us a storm system. That will have some thunder and lightning with it, and a cold front. Get up to the 80s on Sunday and ride the 80s in the next week. Crazy to think that we're probably going to close out June in the 80s.
Mm-hmm. What's rough is that Friday night low barely dips below 80 degrees. Doesn't give you a chance to cool off.
I don't think they're going to see too many places actually drop below 80. 78 is more of an average for what you'll see up to the north. You work from central to southern portion, I'd be prepared for a nighttime about 82.
We'll be ready for a few PM showers come Saturday night.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. All right, thanks, Michael. Authorities arrest a Springfield, Missouri couple accused of abusing their son in ways that might be considered child torture. Probable cause statement says Joseph and Peggy Flores would put their teenage son naked in a puppy cage with 2 dogs, pour urine on him, and hit him with an extension cord as a form of punishment. Authorities say the parents would refer to their son using racial slurs Investigators think the abuse began in March of 2020 when the boy was homeschooled during the COVID shutdown of Springfield schools. Joplin Fire Department holds a ceremony for its brand new fire truck. The wet down ceremony was held at Fire Station number 5, where the fire truck received its first wash. The new aerial ladder truck has 107 feet of vertical and 100 feet of horizontal reach without compromising water capacity. The tradition also includes an opportunity for the community to push the truck into the bay after the wash.
They're loving it. They're very excited and ready to get into this thing. So it was, you know, we were trying to find a date that worked for everybody that we could get it done as quickly as we could. So, yeah, we're all very excited about getting this in service.
Ladder truck was funded through the public safety sales tax that voters approved in 2006. COVID-19 vaccines are now available to children as young as 6 months old, but not every local hospital has them in stock yet. While the vaccines are not yet available at Freeman, hospital staff say they plan to meet in a few weeks to discuss available options for children to receive the vaccine. Jessica Liberty, manager of infection prevention at Freeman, says it may be time to start having conversations with your pediatrician to determine if your child should be vaccinated.
You would need to reach out to them to determine that. And I know that here in the next few weeks, Freeman will be meeting to discuss options available for the community for giving the pediatric vaccine.
Freeman pediatricians have already been getting calls about the vaccine for kids under 5. Joplin United Micro Housing Partnership completes its goal of adding more low-income housing for residents of Joplin. 500 square feet tiny duplexes are for low-income individuals who are trying to become independent. Joplin United Micro Housing Partnership built this program after noticing the rise in homelessness in the community. Catholic Charities is also helping families with rental and utilities assistance.
Well, at Catholic Charities, we have a total of 12 affordable housing units here in Joplin. These two, within a week of actually posting, were rented. That shows that the need for affordable housing is there, and that's why this partnership wants to grow this program and create more of these throughout the community.
Duplexes are already giving shelter to those in need. Today, back in 1972, Title IX is enacted. Title 1X prohibits federally funded, well.
Title IX.
Yeah, I thought it was Title IX. Trying to read my script here. It keeps disappearing on me. Title IX prohibits federally funded educational institutions from discriminating against students or employees based on sex. It begins, no person in the United States shall, on the basis of sex, be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any education program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. As a result of Title IX, any school that receives federal money from elementary to university level, in short, nearly all schools must provide fair and equal treatment of the sexes in all areas, including athletics. Big part of why I was on the women's rowing team at KU and was under scholarship.
Father of a daughter. Title IX has trickled down to a number of different sports below the college level and has meant the world to a number of young girls and women and given them open opportunities that 40 to 50 years ago were non-existent in their lives, and it's all because of Title IX. And yes, for those of you that say it, you know, took away X, Y, and Z from me, I understand that. Yes, Title IX did, but it gave somebody else an opportunity for sex that didn't have that opportunity when your mom and grandma were growing up. There's Hayslip's soapbox. 7-day forecast, low 90s today. Mostly sunny skies, 30% chance of pop-up rain. And nothing organized. It's not going to be widespread. Timing-wise, wait for it later this afternoon when that instability really kicks in. Say about 3 to 5 o'clock, I think is when we'll see the more distinct possibility. Clear off overnight. Get ready for the heat wave Friday and Saturday.
Let's look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon, our own Chef Anthony is stepping back into the studio. We're going to be learning more about this weekend's barbecue competition and the cool prizes involved. Plus, with the Supreme Court about to hand down its ruling on Roe v. Wade, we're going to tell you what's on the horizon for abortion rights, and we'll have the benefits of acupuncture for headaches. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, the Supreme Court ruling on the Mississippi abortion case that could overturn Roe v. Wade is expected any day now. As activists face off in front of the court, advocates on both sides of the abortion issue are working behind the scenes, preparing for a surge in demand for their services. Natalie Brand with the story.
Or if they need anything in the interim, they can always call.
From clothing to care packages, from diapers to formula, this pregnancy center in Northern Virginia is a source of basic supplies, as well as counseling and connections to medical appointments.
We probably have 2,500 visits every year for material assistance.
The organization opposes abortion. Dolores Wisecarver serves on the board.
Out of the women that come in that are abortion minded, about 57% have a change of heart and continue the pregnancy.
And what do you think has changed their mind?
If they know that they have help and they know that they have support.
In Bloomington, Indiana, this pregnancy resource center also offers counseling and supplies for pregnant women and moms, but it has an abortion fund to help those who've decided to end their pregnancies.
One thing that hasn't been talked about a lot is how difficult it has already been in some states for people to access abortion care.
Jess Marchbank, the state programs director, says since the leaked court draft opinion, calls have more than doubled.
I have consistently been receiving over 80 every week since the beginning of May.
Sabina Oster has lived both sides of this issue.
No person can understand what an individual person goes through when they make their own decisions, especially one as hard as that.
She had an abortion in her 20s. Nearly a decade later, she made a different decision and is a new mom.
I couldn't do it again. I'm still pro-choice to this day, just due to the fact that I'm able to make a conscious decision on my own. I have support. Not everybody is as fortunate as me to have that support system.
She got support from family and financial assistance from a pregnancy center.
There's a tendency to vilify the other side, and that's not it. I mean, we're here about helping each other and getting through this.
While the advocates across the two sides hope for different outcomes from the Supreme Court,
it's impossible to harden your heart to some of the situations that you hear. And it's also impossible to help every single person, which can be heartbreaking.
They remain focused on helping as many women as their resources will allow. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Northern Virginia.
Both centers we spoke with rely on private donations. The Pregnancy Center in Northern Virginia says it has relationships with local doctors' offices and will help pay for prenatal care and appointments. That's a look at today's top national story. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News. Chef Anthony Fisher in Studio K right after this.
Welcome back. I've got Chef Anthony in house this morning, and later this morning we're going to be making a pretty awesome salad. I'm excited about that.
So am I.
But right now we are talking about a fundraiser for your kids who are planning to travel to Italy next summer.
Yes, the Smoking in the Jungle barbecue competition is this weekend. Come out, join us, cook. Please bring the kids out and the family out on Saturday. We have the open category where anyone can vote for anyone that has a cash prize involved with it. And we have all sorts of really good prizes for those who are competing. So
the People's Choice category, that's where people can come in and their kids can come in and you can vote for. That's just for the open.
For the open category.
It's not for the main event ones, though,
well,
right?
Anyone in the People's Choice can vote for anything.
They can vote for anything.
If you want to bring something in and enter in the People's Choice, bring it in and enter People's Choice. That's open to anybody. The competitors will have their stuff on for judging during the open competition as well, and it's open to just about anyone who wants to bring something and compete.
Okay.
So we're excited for that one. It's going to be $5 a plate, and you can make one trip through everything with your plate until you fill it up, and then you get 2 votes to go with it, and you can go back as many times as you want.
Yeah, so if you want to compete, you still have a chance.
Yes.
You need to register, though.
Yes, you need to register. Use the QR code that is available on the website, or just call Simon Market and tell them, hey, I want to get registered for the competition, and show up tomorrow at 5:30 to receive your proteins and select your stall at the barbecue site.
Okay, so you'll select your site, get everything set up, and the winners have some awesome prizes.
Yes, we have this cooler donated by Eagle Beverage. It's a really nice igloo cooler. It's KU, so I know we're going to have a lot of fans with that one right there. This was donated by Standard Beverage. It's a 30-quart turkey fryer, and this is going to be really popular towards the end of the summer. So, and you can do all sorts of stuff in here. I've seen people do shrimp boils and lobsters and all sorts of good stuff with these fryers. So this is a great versatile object for anyone who wants to just cook outside.
Yes.
And then we have the grand prize. We have a knife made by Coconut Empire Forge. And if you're not sure who Alan is, Alan was on Forged in Fire.
Yes, he was.
So come in, compete for this. I mean, whenever are you going to get a chance to get a knife made by someone who was on that show? I love that show.
And plus, there's money involved as well.
Yes. Well, not for this one. Not for the main
For the
barbecue.
People's Choice.
For the People's Choice, there is a cash prize.
All right.
So these are reserved for the people who are competing in the barbecue, and then there's a small cash prize available for those who compete in the open category. But we're going to have fair games and beverages and water. There's a band from the high school that's going to come out and perform. And we're going to have all sorts of good stuff.
Yes, fun games.
Yes, I can't wait.
Let's talk a little bit about the games.
Well, we're going to have bobbing for apples. I don't know if anybody remembers that. It seems to be kind of lost this time of this now in this generation.
A great way to cool off in the heat. That's
oh
for
yes.
Sure.
We're going to have a golf chip shot for a barbecue grill. It's a 100-foot chip shot.
Ooh.
So it's going to be interesting. And we have the goldfish toss. You could win a goldfish. Of course, you won't have to carry it around all day long, but it'll be there. And then we have several raffle prizes that we're going to give away. And we have, I forgot the lollipop pull. We have a lollipop tree where you just come by and you pull the sucker out, and if yours has the color code on the end, then you win a prize.
How fun.
So it's good for the whole family. We want to encourage everybody to get out and bring the family and get back to what we used to do. Just family involvement. Come out, visit with myself, visit with Tanya, come out and visit with all the barbecuers, talk, ask questions, and just have some fun.
Yeah, the fun events, family events and stuff, everything's going to kick off around noon.
About noon.
And then at 2 o'clock, that's when the tasting begins. All the
Correct.
meat has to be done by 2. And if you do want to register, it's important to remember, yes, it is $130 to enter, but that includes all your meat.
Yes.
Tell us real quickly what they get with that.
You're going to get 4 whole chickens, you're going to get 3 untrimmed St. Louis ribs, and you're going to get a tri-tip.
Wow.
And all 3 have to be submitted in for judging, but that amount of meat right there, that's over almost $100 in itself just in the meat. And then with prices and everything fluctuating a little bit, so $130 is pretty close.
And remember, you're doing this, and if you go out there and eat, and if you participate in the People's Choice, all of that is going to help the kids who are traveling to Italy next summer.
Yes, I can't wait. I'm hoping to take about 12 kids with me to Italy next summer, so we have a lot of fundraising to do. But it's going to be a lot of fun.
I need to turn back the clock so I can go too.
We would love to have you.
It would be a lot of fun.
So.
All right. This is amazing. We can share these prizes again a little bit later, but I want to real quickly tell us what we're going to be making on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 this morning.
Well, we're going to show you some products from our first harvest from the Dragon Farm, container farm out at the high school. We're going to make a strawberry salad with a strawberry vinaigrette.
Ooh.
And smoked chicken.
All right. Well, hey, we're talking about smoking, so might as well.
Might as well.
All right, sounds great. Stick around and we'll see you again.
And we have a
in our next
special
show.
guest coming.
And we have a special guest too.
Yep. We have a special guest coming to tell you about the Dragon Farm.
All right. Stay tuned for that. We'll be right back.
Topping Health Watch this morning, COVID-19 vaccines now available to children as young as 6 months old, but it may be a while before 4-state kids can get them. State health departments in Missouri, Kansas, and Oklahoma have authorized kids aged 6 months to 4 years to receive either a Pfizer or Moderna vaccine. KOAM's Bronte Sarosky spoke with an infection specialist at Freeman about when our kids could have the chance to get them.
Nationwide, infants and toddlers will be up next in eligibility to get their COVID vaccines. The FDA and CDC both gave the green light for kids to get the Moderna or Pfizer on Saturday.
We have, pediatric patients that have, different types of chronic illnesses. So this just, creates that level of protection and safeguard, if you will, for our patients that, and whose parents who maybe are concerned about that.
Freeman pediatricians have already been getting calls about the vaccine for kids. And while they don't have any available yet, they are ready to answer any questions parents may have.
It was just recently approved. We do know that, if you are a parent who would like your kid to be vaccinated for COVID, or if you have some questions about it, your best route would be to call your pediatrician and to talk to them. Here in the next few weeks, Freeman will be meeting to discuss options available for the community for giving the pediatric vaccine.
Jessica Liberty, manager of infection prevention at Freeman, says they aren't seeing many kids hospitalized due to COVID, and these vaccines just add another layer of protection.
We have not, in the very recent past, had any admissions that were pediatric age, so that's really encouraging to see. Those that have COVID at this point are recovering at home. When you get vaccinated, not only are you protecting yourself, but you're also protecting other special loved ones that maybe are at higher risk.
Liberty added that with masking easing up, she recommends talking with your pediatrician about the vaccine. In Joplin, Bronte Sorotsky, KOAM News.
KOAM also reached out to Mercy Hospital to see if it will be administering the vaccine for young kids. Have not received a response as of yet. New research published in the journal Neurology finds acupuncture can decrease headaches for people with chronic tension. Scientists found acupuncture reduced the average number of headaches per month by up to 50%. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
Coming up, the Joplin Fire Department holds a ceremony for its new fire truck.
Early morning cloud cover actually going to help us from making it too hot. However, we get a little pop-up rain we're going to pay attention to. The latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And a Joplin organization reaches its goal of adding more low-income housing.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It is 6:29. I'm Tanya Bach. We'll get to those stories and much more in just a moment. But first, let's go to Michael Hayslip.
A little light cloud cover, Tanya, actually helping us twofold. Number one, makes for a gorgeous sunrise over the 4 states on this June the 23rd. But number two, it also keeps us from that massive fast heat up that we've experienced last week. Now, it is still going to be warm today. That is for sure. But luckily, the clouds are going to let us just hang kind of in the 70s here for the next several hours. Skywatch Storm Tracker, after a delightful start, we're starting to pick up just a little bit of rain, far western portion of southeast Kansas, right along the Kansas-Oklahoma state line. This is not one of those that's going to organize and bring us any long bouts of rain. A lot of these, as a matter of fact, are dying off before they hit our highlighted counties. As far as what the cloud cover is doing, we're as low as 68 right now in Iola. That's our one place that is yet to crack the 70-degree mark. 72 in Joplin and in Carthage. Already 76 in Neodesha. But like I said, the clouds are going to let us hang in the 70s for quite some time, with the majority of the thunderstorm activity tracking along I-70 and headed toward Kansas City. Not going to drop down on us. Our heat will eventually arrive from the southwest, not only for today, but also especially Friday and Saturday. In the meantime, we'll go around 91 today with every now and then a little pop of green on future track. It is quick, it's in and out, and by Friday morning it shall be done. And then get ready for a Friday that's going to shoot us up into the mid-90s, and then a Saturday up into the high 90s. Saturday will bring us the reemergence of the heat advisories, followed by a massive cold front that'll drop us into the 80s for Sunday through next week.
Ouch. We can make it through the heat, and we'll enjoy next week.
Yeah, it's really, I mean, today's not going to be bad, just like yesterday. Friday and Saturday, that'd be a little bit hot, but yeah, Sunday all the way to end July, or to end June, and get ready to begin July in the 80s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll be nice.
Perfecto.
But in the meantime, it's going to be hotter than a blister bug in a pepper patch.
Nah, you use that one at noon though.
You have to wait till the noon.
I know. With bated breath.
There you go. All right, thanks, Michael. Authorities arrest a Springfield, Missouri couple accused of abusing their son in ways that might be considered child torture. Probable cause statement says Joseph and Peggy Flores would put their teenage son naked in a puppy cage with 2 dogs, pour urine on him, and hit him with an extension cord as a form of punishment. Authorities say the parents would refer to their son using racial slurs. Investigators think the abuse began in March of 2020 when the boy was homeschooled during the COVID shutdown of Springfield schools. Joplin Fire Department held a ceremony for its brand new fire truck. The wet down ceremony was held at Fire Station number 5, where the fire truck received its first wash. The new aerial ladder truck has 107 feet of vertical and 100 feet of horizontal reach without compromising water capacity. The tradition also includes an opportunity for the community to push the truck into the bay after the wash.
Traditions of the fire service is what makes us uniquely us. I mean, it makes the fire service what it is. You know, otherwise you're just looking, at an empty delivery truck that's really expensive without the firefighters that go on it. So tradition is very important to us.
The ladder truck was funded through the public safety sales tax that voters approved in 2006. Well, nothing beats the heat quite like a big splash of cold water. Chanute, Kansas Fire Department contributed to the fund by spraying down kids participating in Water Wars in Chanute. The event also included all kinds of wet and wild water games. The Chanute Public Library organized the entire thing as part of the summer reading program. The idea is to create some fun and some goodwill between kids and the library.
I really hope that they have a positive association with the library and that this is something that they'll remember when they're adults, and they'll think, hey, I remember going to the library and I remember having a really good time at that water event. Let's go to the library with my kids, and then we can keep that cycle going for generations.
Water Wars wasn't just for kids. The fun was open to people of all ages. A ribbon cutting is part of a project involving some small residences and big ambitions. On Wednesday, the Joplin United Micro Housing Partnership completed its goal of adding more low-income housing for residents of Joplin. 500 square feet tiny duplexes are specifically for low-income individuals who are trying to become independent. KOAM's Amber Jenkins reports.
Today is a big day for the Joplin United Micro Housing Partnership. After 2 years in development, low-income duplexes are giving Joplin residents a home.
Post the Joplin tornado, there was a big need in the community for low-income housing. And so, throughout the years, we've done what we can to add more housing. And so this partnership came together to do something that we feel like can be affordable to build and affordable for those who need to rent it.
The housing partnership faced many obstacles throughout the project. Gathering funds and surviving COVID were a few of the obstacles this program overcame.
Here it feels wonderful. It took us a lot longer than what we anticipated because of COVID, but now that we've got 2 people in here that really deserve this place, it feels wonderful to be able to do it. And I'd like to be able to do more of this. So we got this through a grant. We didn't get this money through grants. It was a private donation, and so we would be glad to take on any more donations to be able to build this.
Joplin's desperate need for low-income housing kept the project moving forward. Once the affordable duplexes were built, Catholic Charities sheltered 2 residents already.
Because beforehand, these people had no place to go. One was living with her family. She couldn't afford to find a place here in Joplin because it's hard to find low-income rentals here in Joplin. The other lady was in an abusive place. She was living with another roommate, and she was taking her money and not paying rent. So she couldn't find any place to live by herself.
Despite some troubles, all the organizations within the partnership are proud to give back to the community. Wanting to help Joplin's residents fueled the partnership throughout the 2-year project.
Let me tell you, given what all has occurred over the last 2.5 years with the increase in material costs, the difficulty of labor, to finally get this launched and to see it succeed so quickly, that's exciting. To know that we got 2 people in a home that they need and that they're now healthy, safe, and have a place to live.
Amber Jenkins, KOAM News Now, Joplin, Missouri.
Catholic Charities also offer rental and utilities assistance to those who qualify. Today, back in 1989, Tim Burton's Batman is released in theaters. Tim Burton had put a noir spin on his version of the DC comic character. Michael Keaton starred in the film as multimillionaire Bruce Wayne, who transformed himself into the crime-fighting Batman after witnessing his parents' brutal murder as a child. As the film's action begins, mob henchman Jack Napier, played by Jack Nicholson, is gruesomely disfigured after Batman inadvertently drops him in a vat of acid during a standoff in a chemical factory. After killing his boss, Napier, who is now known as the Joker, goes on the loose in Gotham City, wreaking havoc and trying to turn its people against the Caped Crusader.
Wow, 1989, huh? Crazy.
A lot of memories from this movie, for sure.
Gave us memorable lines. I'm Batman. Where did you get those wonderful toys? Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, yeah.
If anybody else calls you Beast. All right, our temperatures right now ranging from 68 to 76. Really, just the north is a little bit cooler. It's delightful outside right now. East breeze, 5 to 10 miles per hour. We've been void of any rainfall so far. Remember, we get a little isolated ones this afternoon. Don't let it cancel any of y'all plans. Do take precautions, though. Let's go ahead and prep for the low 90s today, because we've got mid 90s and then high 90s on Friday and Saturday.
That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, this year's 4th of July isn't going to be cheap, and we're going to explain why. Plus, some sports teams undergo name changes. The Washington Commanders, Cleveland Guardians, a prime example. This makes us want to know, are you for or against changing team names? We let you weigh in, and we'll be right back. In Consumer Watch this morning, you're seeing higher prices for just about everything these days, thanks to sky-high inflation rates. And we'll add fireworks to the list this 4th of July. Wendy Gillette explains why the prices have increased.
People shopping for fireworks should expect less bang for their buck this year. Michael Vigliotti noticed the difference in prices while stocking up at Phantom Fireworks in Matamoros, Pennsylvania.
Have you seen a difference in the prices this year?
Yes, definitely. Everything went up, yes.
Inflation is hitting consumer fireworks just as it has many other products.
We had to raise our prices.
Bruce Zolden is the CEO of Phantom Fireworks. Many of the items they stock come from overseas, and shipping costs have skyrocketed.
2019, we paid approximately $11,000 a container, and this year we're paying close to $40,000 a container.
Supply chain problems started during the pandemic. Public fireworks displays were shut down, so millions of Americans bought their own for backyard celebrations.
People were staying home. The entertainment for the last 2 years has been consumer fireworks.
The huge demand led to shortages of certain fireworks at some retailers the past couple of years.
Despite the higher prices, Zolden says there's more inventory this year. So while you may have to spend more, you should be able to find what you want.
Grand total was $1,319.82.
Cynthia Alvarez's tally was higher this year.
About $200 to $300 more than what we've spent last year or the previous years.
It's not clear if higher prices will affect overall sales. Phantom is hoping Americans' desire to celebrate sparks another big year for business. Wendy Gillette, CBS News, Matamoros, Pennsylvania.
One factor that may affect fireworks sales is that the 4th of July falls on a Monday, extending the holiday weekend. That's it for Consumer Watch. Let's go over to Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Tanya. This morning on the KOAM News Now Insta poll in our Facebook page discussing changing sports team names. The latest, probably not the last version of the debate, comes from Chamberlain High School in Hillsborough County, Florida. The Title VI Native American Parent Advisory Council requesting the school change its mascot name from the Chiefs to something new. The Advisory Council stance is such names teach stereotypical, misleading, and often insulting images of Indigenous people. When polled, over 50% of the students at the high school say they believe the mascot and past traditions were offensive. But the other side of the argument is the title is a symbol of proud traditions. As Tanya mentioned, in recent years, we've seen Major League sports teams in Cleveland and NFL teams in Washington change their names of their franchises under similar considerations. Our question for you this morning, are you for or against changing a team name? 85% of you are against it right now, compared to only 15% that say yes, it should be considered. Each and every morning, all you have to do is go to koamnewsnow.com/vote. That'll take you right to the poll. You can also connect to us, find a whole lot more information on our Facebook page at KOAM News Now. Let's come back, celebrate birthdays and anniversaries. But first, off to the Big Apple, Mr. Tony.
I'm Tony Nicopol. Coming up on CBS Mornings, Olympic gold medalist and Women's World Cup champion Brianna Scurry is here. She's going to talk about her new documentary and her memoir. That's coming up on CBS Mornings.
We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Master Sergeant Judy Butler McGuire. Miami, Oklahoma native, served as a communications specialist at various Air Force bases across the country from 2001 to 2007. To Master Sergeant Judy Butler McGuire, we thank you, today's four-state hero.
The birthday list begins with Brex Welch, the old push-up pop. How about that?
Yeah.
How about that?
Oh, is it orange sherbet too?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
I haven't seen one of those in a long time.
Call up the Schwans, man.
Brex knows how to cool off during the summertime. Find the ice cream truck and find the push-up pop right there.
Man, I miss those.
Happy big number 2 to Brex in Erie.
I need to get me some push-up pops for the kids. Let's bring back some memories. A lot of summertime memories. All right, we got Sophie Biggerstaff celebrating birthday number 8 this year in Columbus. Happy birthday to Sophie. And I'll pass the next one to you.
I thought you wanted to do Joe Lewis. I was like, if you want to do Joe's birthday, that's cool. Joe, out doing a little putt-putt for the birthday. Love it. We got the little PSU. I can't tell what's on the hat there. The PSU shirt. I dig that shirt, man. And Joe, I hope you shot an 18 when you were out there out on the putt-putt course. A happy 11th birthday in Fort Scott.
All right.
How great would it be if he shot a 17? How about that?
There you go. Well, we got Drake Walker turning 12 years old this year. Drake is in Frontenac. Happy birthday.
Trevor Daniels, he's got a 14th birthday. Oh! That is Trevor on the right, by the way. That is Trevor on the right. Who's that dude on the left?
Is that Bill?
Yes, that's Bill.
I say it with questions.
Trevor, that's a cool picture, man. Cool picture right there. And I mean with the trophies and whatnot. Happy 14th to Trevor as he's in Mound Valley.
All right. And let's see, we got Grant O'Doherty turning 17 years old this year. That's a cool picture.
Cool pic.
Liking it in Pittsburgh. Happy birthday, Grant.
Threw that dude out by about 3 steps. Promise you, it wasn't even close. Elizabeth Adamson. She goes by Lizzie. And Lizzie's celebrating a milestone 30th birthday. Miss Lizzie, 20th birthday. Miss Lizzie, a very happy birthday to you in Pittsburgh.
Also in Pittsburgh, Skylar Schupbach celebrating birthday number 24. Wow, congratulations.
How about Kevin taking the selfie of him?
Yeah.
That's good. Happy birthday, Skylar.
Happy birthday.
Trishelle Stewart. She is celebrating her 38th birthday. Miss Trishelle, have a wonderful birthday weekend. I'm pushing it into the weekend. I'm telling everybody, I just told Trishelle that birthday may be today. We're carrying it into the weekend.
We apparently made a boo-boo yesterday, so now we're gonna make right here. We've got Miss Deborah Church turning 69 years old this year. She is in Miami. We had her birthday actually yesterday. Correct?
I do remember Deborah from yesterday.
I'm glad you got the picture now.
we were down in War Dog country.
Yeah.
That's right. I'm glad to see Deborah. Thank you very much for letting us get that picture on. I love that. Lyle Hurst celebrating a birthday out on the mower. Yeah, that's hard to beat. Boy, he's making sure the fields are good for the kiddos. Look. And that's a baseline right there and an infield cutout, isn't it? I think so. Lyle, thank you for taking care of the field for the kids. He's out in Erie, and that is evidenced by that Red Devil t-shirt he's got on right there.
All right. And Miss Natalie Douglas celebrating birthday in Arma, Kansas this year. Happy birthday to Natalie.
Happy birthday, Natalie, because that woman right there, she's got so much on her plate, celebrating her birthday. She's got to take care of her husband. Then she spends more time taking care of her husband, keeping him in line. Larry, do something nice for Natalie today. Natalie, we love you. Happy birthday to you. Justin and Michelle Schultz, they are celebrating 21 years. Great family picture right there, Schultzes. Thank you very much for that. They're in Crestline.
All right. And in Pittsburgh, celebrating their 60th anniversary today. Congratulations going out to Marcel and Helen Norman. With love from your 3 children, your 13 grandchildren, and your 2 great-grandchildren.
I love Miss Helen's dress on that. Marcel, not that you're a bad dressed man by any means, but I love Miss Helen's dress. Looks absolutely gorgeous. Corey Bailey celebrating 49. Happy birthday to Corey and Gerard. JL King, the big number 5. JL, you go get him, man. He's in Columbus. And Sue Cobb, happy birthday in Gerard.
And we got Louise Ferraro celebrating birthday number 85 this year. She's in Columbus. And June Miller down in Miami. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday and a happy anniversary to all. That's where you can send them into. Here's Tanya Bach with a very important birthday announcement.
That's right. You can be a part of the KOAM Birthday Club. All you have to do is go to our website and sign up. And once you do, you'll get special deals from local businesses. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com. Sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club today.
One of those summer blockbusters that everybody's been talking about, the life and career of the legendary Elvis Presley's coming to the big screen. When we transition over to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14, a sneak peek of the upcoming film. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Authorities arrest a Springfield, Missouri couple accused of abusing their son in ways that might be considered child torture. Probable cause statement says Joseph and Peggy Flores would put their teenage son naked in a puppy cage with 2 dogs, pour urine on him, and hit him with an extension cord as a form of punishment. Authorities say the parents would refer to their son using racial slurs. Investigators think the abuse began in March of 2020 when the boy was homeschooled during the COVID shutdown of Springfield schools. A precautionary boil water advisory is issued for residents around South Joplin. It was issued after a water main break caused water pressure to drop in the affected area. The advisory affects about 150 customers. So check out today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Going to roll into a Thursday with partly cloudy skies. Temperatures really haven't budged too much. We now see Iola getting up to 70 degrees. It was our lone 60 that was still on the board. Everybody else ranging from low to mid 70s. Weather trend, we all end up in the high 80s, low 90s with sporadic little dots of rain that pop up on Future Track. Don't let it cancel any of your plans because it comes and goes rather quickly and is not going to be prolonged by any means. As far as the weekend ahead, 94 on Friday, 98 on Saturday. Big cold front coming up Saturday into Sunday. Going to drop us almost about 20 degrees.
All right, well, it's gonna big hot one and we can get through it.
Trying to warm up?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm trying to think of something positive. It'll just keep focusing on what's past Saturday.
You got a string of 80s coming.
Yes, we can make it there. Not looking forward to Friday and Saturday.
Oh, you about to open Pandora's box with what you got coming up today at noon. Good luck with that one.
Yeah, coming up today at noon, we're making classic fried chicken in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Put it to the test.
Right. Way to do that one in the 4 states. Morning News continues on KOAM. CBS Morning News coming up next. World Cup winner and soccer star Brianna Scurry. She is coming on to talk about her new memoir in the 50th anniversary of Title IX.
Or you could switch on over with us on Fox 14 where your only local morning news continues. And this morning, Chef Anthony is back in the kitchen and we're making a tasty salad.
Hey, that wraps it up for me over at the Skywatch Weather Center. For all of you that have meant so much to me and my family, it's been a wild ride. We absolutely loved our time here. It's a big world. Be safe. Do this again tomorrow morning.
And we'll do it again.